Welcome to Making the Metaverse, your weekly dose into the exciting world of Web3.
In this video, we're going to be breaking down how you can build NFT campaigns, how you can nurture communities. So stay to the end where we're going to be giving you some five top tips that you can take away, implement in your campaigns. Me and you, James, obviously we spent hours talking about NFT campaigns. We're kind of like a bickering married couple at times, bickering away of NFTs. What do you think is the key thing to think about when you're starting an NFT campaign? What do you think is the point of running it? Why should people care about it?
That's a good question, Max. I think that NFT campaigns are revolutionary, but also not. I think a normal NFT campaign can take place in an existing demand generation campaign, but I think the valuable thing about NFT is that it provides a way to exchange value through digital mediums. It allows you to give your audience a piece of your brand, an equitable stake of what you're delivering in a way which you haven't been done before. And I think a great way of summarizing the kind of value of NFTs is they are almost part fan token, part shareholder agreement. And I think that's a really nice kind of analogy of what NFTs are going to give to all of us, particularly in B2B. And I think to answer your question, an NFT will just be another part of the campaign you run. In the past, you'd give someone a free access, or you give them a white paper, or you give them some kind of hamper or gift. Now you'll give them an NFT, which has a whole basket case of experiences and valuable assets, both digital and real life, which your customers and potential clients and fans want to get hold of. So that's kind of my summary.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. I like to look at NFTs, first of all, like actually looking at the music industry. I think a lot of people have got carried away with the art world, and I think the art in NFTs is good, but I think it's actually, in my honest opinion, a lot of it is a lot of a bubble. I actually think the music industry is a better place to look at, where you can get real life examples of how valuable the NFTs can be. So for those who are new to the concept of how this works in music, I'll kind of break it down for you. Obviously back in the day, if let's say you were a band, James, when you were younger, you were in a band called Sleep Record, obviously like alternative.
Well, we're both.
Max was throwing under the bus. But
it was a joint project. Yeah. If you look up Sleep Record, Max is involved in this as well.
So if you look at the music industry, and obviously, going back to our days in Sleep Record, you can see that how bands used to operate is that they would obviously start making music. They'll then go to gigs. They'll go to like bars, or they would go to pubs, and they'll go gigging, trying to get awareness. And then they would obviously look for a record deal. A record label would come and say, look, we like your band. We're going to give you $2 million and we're going to sign you. Maybe they take like 50% or whatever the thing is. Unfortunately, Sleep Record never got signed. So that wasn't didn't work out for us there. No. But for many bands, that's the route they go. But now we're in a different world. And if you look at like bands, they're actually getting big now on like TikTok and YouTube. Like their followings are happening on social media. No longer are they going to building up communities through actually gigging. It's like, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I've got 1 million followers on Instagram. They've already built up a community by the time they're ready to go to launch. So rather than going to a record label now, what musicians are looking to do is actually release NFTs. So it'd be like, okay, I've got 1 million followers, I'm going to release 5,000 NFTs to my followers, and these NFTs represent like royalties on my first album. So you buy it for £200, and then from that you're going to get a stake in my first album. And if it does well, then you're obviously going to get you're going to get royalties. And maybe you give away like 20-30% of your album, and actually your fans are the early investors. And it's creates that community and network effect. Because like imagine Justin Bieber when he first came out. If someone saw Justin and he said, look, rather than get signed with this record label, I'm going to release NFTs. You buy it, and you got that first, the first Justin Bieber NFT. It's worth a lot of money, like on the secondary market, because people could be like, wow, that's the first release. It's got value on the secondary market. You're getting royalties from it. And I think there was that song. Obviously, I'm not a massive Justin Bieber fan, but that song, was it Baby or something?
Baby was a classic.
Baby,
one of his classics.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like billions of views, and if you had royalties on that song, which you could have done, you could actually make some decent income from it. So the NFT, and also you can get value when you can plug into the smart contract. When the NFTs are sold on the secondary market, the royalties, the artist still gets royalties. So Justin Bieber, if someone bought it the first time, sells it now, they bought it for £200, now sells it for £10,000 because of the royalties. Justin Bieber can still get a cut, and you get that lifetime value. So you can see how like token economics has a real impact. And it's the same for brands. If you look at like brands like Volkswagen, for example, if you buy a Volkswagen car, you can actually buy an NFT, but rather than having obviously royalties in music, you have shares in that company. So, and then you're more incentivized that to continue to buy Volkswagen goods. You hope they do well because now you have shares through the NFTs. So that's the kind of, the tokenomics, I think, is going to change the whole, how society works. So.
Yeah, I absolutely think there's a lot of stuff around NFTs which I think, quite honestly, just it's not going to work just yet. Because to use the analogy of the music example, this is going to interface with the reality of just copyright law and IP. And when you talk about things like royalties, when a record label there's a complicated legal structure which exists for all areas of the economy. So I think what's interesting to me is the mechanics of NFTs are very exciting. And I think that the kind of the framework is tremendously exciting. And I think we could absolutely get to that point in the future where we do have a world in which you can almost bring or put a value layer over your brand. This is going to be one of the first times in history where you can actually have a real stake or monetary stake in the value of brand, which is really valuable. I think to kind of backtrack slightly with the music example, I think for new artists coming through now who don't have a record label, who don't have the same restrictions which many traditional artists have, I think this represents a really exciting opportunity for artists to kind of leverage the latest technology. And I think that what's going to happen over the next few years, there's going to be a lot of clashing of heads between legal, legislative bodies, government, legal teams, technologists, people who are into artists, and they're going to work out a system in which you can enshrine legal contracts through the mechanism of a smart contract in the blockchain. Because let's not forget, the value of a smart contract is only as valuable as the law behind the smart contract. So we could set up a smart contract tomorrow between me and you. It is a smart contract, but it's not legally binding because there's no legal jurisdiction for me to honor the smart contract. So I think the question is not what can blockchain do. It can do so many exciting things, which I think is going to change the world, is how, and I think the big question is how are the traditional legal structures that we have going to adapt to this novel and exciting technology? And I think that's the debate to be had, and it's an exciting one. And it's actually happening now. I think we're going to be seeing a ton of movement in the legal space when you're going to have NFT, music artists going to court to fight theft of digital assets. I think recently I've forgotten his name, a famous actor got his NFT stolen, his Bored Ape nicked. And obviously he's trying to get some legal compensation for it. And that's going to be the interesting legal debate. So all of this is to come. But I think, it's an incredibly exciting space. Just there's a lot of legal roadblocks to go.
I think if people are thinking about NFTs and how they can market it, like it's got to give people some value. Like,
of course,
it can't just be a piece of art. It has to, for most people, it has to be like you can exchange this token for an event pass or something like that. But I really think if you really boil down the value, and correct me if I'm wrong, like obviously if you disagree, but I think that under the layer of NFTs, really all it is what we're talking about is contracts and social contracts. Like that's really the thing behind it, is that the blockchain has allowed me and you to enter into some sort of agreement without a middle person. Like we can just everyone in this room or everyone watching, through the blockchain, we can enter into social contracts, which can be currency, can be obviously like crypto. We can agree that Bitcoin is worth a certain amount, and when we exchange it's worth a certain amount with no government or intermediary to say that is it. It's the network, and it's the individuals, the network deciding that it's valuable. And then same for, NFTs too, like me and you, I could write a smart contract and we could, I don't know what kind of smart contract we'd enter into, but maybe it's like, we're going to agree to, in the future it could be housing. Like maybe me and you one day be like, you've got a house and we want to want to exchange, and rather than go to like, have all these intermediaries that have to define it. Me and you'd be like, look, I like the house. And you'd be like, I want to sell it. We can make the exchange, and then on the smart contract, it's all verified and stuff like that. We can do stuff independently. We don't need that. And I think that's people get too caught up on the artwork and think NFTs is just weird pixelated art. And some of it is, but it's really a social contract.
I think that's a very good point. I think that's why I think the mechanism is so transformative.
Yeah.
I think that the big step for now for mass adoption for all of this stuff is the slow legal ship to turn. But that doesn't mean that's not to say don't experiment with NFTs, because if you wait for mass adoption, you're too late. So I don't think that means you shouldn't do that. What I think you can, in terms of like applicable ways you can use NFTs right now, is I think when you start getting into like ownership of rights, and when you start getting into kind of quite technical areas of financial law or company structure or corporate law, then maybe NFT campaign might be a bit ambitious at the moment. But you could use, and here's a very real, because everyone's like, oh, what's the point of NFTs? What do they even do? They don't have any application. Absolutely, for some use cases, we're not there yet. But you could do a very simple thing for NFTs, and there are several things you could do right now. One of them is you could have a NFT which is primarily focused on giving people access to events. Very simple use case for NFTs. I think that's the easiest one. You can just create an NFT. You could mint several thousand NFTs, however many NFTs you wanted for your audience, create some really cool art series, and then that NFT would give you access to a series of events. And that's a really cool, novel way of exploring what NFT does. And people go, well, I can just use Ticketator why do I need to do an NFT? That's because this is a very simple application of an NFT.
Yeah.
There's so much more you can build beyond that. You could have an event experience. You could have, beyond the event, you could have access to certain content. You could have drops of tokens on top of that eventually. And I think as people dip their toes into this stuff, I think it's a multi-year pursuit to understand how this technology can help you create value in the digital space. And I think one of the really exciting concepts around NFTs is a way in which you can essentially build a value layer over your community. Never before have we had a way in which we can build as easily a value layer over the community. Communities online now can, through tokens, through NFTs, become active investors into their own communities, as well as being fans. So you are kind of hitting this from both ends. If you're a fan of Disney, for example, you could have in the future, maybe a decade, maybe less, who knows, a way in which you can really become a fan of Disney, but also own some of Disney's brand as well. And I think that's where the legal thing comes in. When we get to a point where there is going to be a melding of minds between things like publicly traded stock share options, and how does that intertwine into non-fungible tokens, and how does that all work out? Very exciting road ahead, but it's really, really, I think it's going to change the world.
Yeah, completely agree. And if you subscribe to the thesis that blockchain technology is going to be a future, a major future technology, then you should be thinking about NFTs. And brands need to be seen as groundbreaking and adopting new trends. And NFTs are rising popularity. Loads of celebrities are doing this.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. I think NFTs are incredibly exciting for the future. Watch out for our own series coming soon.
Yeah, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for your weekly updates in the metaverse. Until then, happy hunting.